Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to a mental break. Thanks for tuning in. This is Deanna. Thank you to any new subscribers. Thank you for anyone who's been looking at my videos. Just to give you a little brief background in case you're seeing this video for the first time or haven't seen any of my videos. I am a registered nurse. My focus is psychiatric. I've been a psychiatric nurse, for many years now in the double numbers. That's where I've been for a while. I participated in teams of many high profile cases in my city. I've worked with children all the way up to the elderly, autistic and all. So I am pretty well uh, educated and experienced in this field. Having said that, let's jump right to this video. Well, Dr. Umar, this is no surprise to me, guys, none whatsoever, because let me start breaking it down. Here on a mental break, we take viral stories and we break it down to what makes sense and hold people accountable. Now, let's talk about Dr. Umar. Now, this is no surprise to me, and I'm going to tell you why. I knew about Dr. Umar. I'm going to go back as far as 2009. Dr. Umar is from my side of town on the East Coast. So over here in the tri-state area, Philadelphia, Jersey, Delaware, we know who Dr. Umar is, okay? Because the rest of the world caught wind later. But well, the US caught wind later. But here on the tri-state area, we're aware of him. Now, when Dr. Umar first came out, I don't know if you guys know this, he was talking about how young children, but mostly young boys, are diagnosed with ADHD, early in, the school system or in the social service system. This label is put on, black children more frequently than other races of children. Now, when he first came out, he was making a lot of sense. This is true. And how I know this is true because I've experienced it. I've had a healthcare provider say that my son needed to be tested for ADHD when he was around 4 or 5 years old. And when I took him to my pediatrician asked me, if this is before I became a nurse. So I wasn't a nurse at this time. And she asked me, could my son performs can he sit and perform a task without jumping up? Can he eat a whole meal without jumping up? Can he sit and look at television? Can he do his homework? Can he do these things without jumping up to do something else, or he couldn't focus on it? So I told her no, he could do all those things. So she said he doesn't have ADHD. And she explained to me that this is something that they've been doing lately in the social service field, that when young children, especially boys, are not, don't, sit or do what they're told or sit like robots, that they have to have ADHD. And also, this is around the time that they started with the diagnosis of ADHD. I'm not going to say that they started in '09. I believe it was before that, but it started really getting popular in '09. So this is where Dr. Umar hits the scene, and he starts going around to different, schools, community centers, speaking to people about this. So I remember when he hit the scene, because like I said, this was going on in the tri-state area. So as time progresses, I start seeing Dr. Umar talking about the school. That's why he talks about the school for boys, because it stems from him saying about, children being labeled with ADHD with a focus on black boys. So this is why he wanted to have the school for boys. This is why. So this is, where this comes from, as I said. So he and I'm going to say allegedly, because, Dr. Umar could argue the points that I'm making, even though he has YouTube videos about this. If you search him, you will find videos going back that far, and you'll see that there are old videos with him speaking at different schools and stuff. But anyway, let me just keep moving. So I noticed that he started switching from this to talk about, biracial dating, where men should not be dating, white women. They should stay within their culture. Now, although what he was saying has some truth to it, there are some truths to it. I also noticed that he started getting a lot of popularity with black women. and which is expected because he's talking about looking out for the children of our culture, looking out for the women of our culture. So he started picking up traction and picking up a following, mostly with black women. Now, I'm not saying that black men did not respect what he said. I'm saying he started picking up a lot of popularity with black women. Now, as Dr. Umar starts to progress out here, there was a couple rumors with Dr. Umar years ago. Now, these are rumors. I don't know if they're true. One was about a stripper. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but there was rumor about him and a stripper out by the airport in Philadelphia. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but there was some rumblings, and I could be wrong. It could be maybe the hotel was in another city. I don't know, but there was some rumblings about him with dating a stripper, either dating a stripper or being with a stripper. And he was always trying to promote, black marriages and relationships. So I started seeing that. I saw that. So I said to myself, I also noticed that Dr. Umar has not been married and does not talk about any children in the forefront. Like we don't. I've never heard about him children in the forefront or a wife or even dating or having a longtime girlfriend. And I'm not saying he hasn't, because from what I understand, he has dated women in the past. I did hear that, but it wasn't anything that he put in the public eye. Now, also, there was a video not too long ago of a woman that crashed someplace that he was speaking at and was going off on him about something. He called the woman crazy, had her removed, but I said, So when you start putting all these things together, this looking kind of shady. So I've been giving Dr. Umar the side eye for years. I don't know. And again, I have discernment. Everybody doesn't have discernment, and but I've been giving him the side eye for a while now because, in my opinion, men who get out here in the public and want to be, say, the voice of a culture, the voice of trying to make a culture better, you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. I'm not listening to a man who's not in a healthy marriage. I'm not listening to a man who's not there for his children. I'm not listening to a man that you don't even know where he live at. Every time, and I'm not saying you have to know where his house is. What I'm saying is, every time you see Dr. Umar, he is recording out of a car in a park, or always looking up in the sky, people looking around, people watching him, or whatever. Every time you turn around. And then, not to mention this school. This man been talking about this school for so long. My kids is grown now. That don't make no sense. Because, like I said, when I first heard of Dr. Umar, my son was young. He wasn't 4 or 5, but he was young. Now my son is a grown man with his own child. So again, he was talking about this school, and he collected money for that school. Now I'm gonna tell you, he has. He has gotten money. He has gotten on his lives and has threatened women about giving $5. That ain't enough. I'm trying to do this. He's something. I don't know what everybody. I don't know what people looking at. I don't know what they see. But I've been seeing this man do his stuff for a long time. So when this young lady pops out and says that this is her father and she wants to know her sister, I believe her. I believe her. Listen, I believe her. I believe her. So, because this man, I don't know, why other women can't see this. Well, I know why other women can't see this. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in the black community, there are many black women. There's a sector of black women who are male identified, male worshipers, and when a man says something that sounds good, they jump on the bandwagon because they're so desperate for validity, excuse me, from a man, and they don't care who the man is. So they sit here because so many black women are so broken, and they just take whatever little breadcrumb they can get and run with it. And this is why Dr. Umar has become so popular. Instead of these same women who are broken going to get therapy, they rather put their money and their faith into people that'll lead them off of a cliff. And that's exactly what it is. Because even when this young lady comes out and says that, Dr. Umar is her father, and then even he in so many words admitted that she is, it's women in the comments that still want to attack this young girl. She's the child. He is the parent. So it's okay for this girl to not have her biological father, because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like it's too many women. And when we didn't even talk about the men, because we already know it's a lot of deadbeats out here, so they don't even count. I don't care what men's opinion are. I'm saying it's a lot of women in the comments going against this young girl, saying all kinds of things. She's the child. What part did y'all don't understand? I guess y'all grew up with no daddies, and your kids don't have no daddies, so you think that this is just normal. This is not normal, people. For some reason, y'all think it's normal to grow up without a father. If it takes two to make a child, it takes two to raise a child. That's who a child is. Part of the mother, part of the father. So a child is supposed to know who they are. They're supposed to know that. And when they don't know, they go through a lot of confusion. And this is the problem. This is a big problem in the black community. It's a huge problem. And it's a problem that we continue to ignore, sweep under the rug, make excuses, and just act like, oh, it's no big deal. It's a huge deal. Leave a comment if you grew up without a father, and how did that make you feel? Leave a comment. When you leave a comment, or any of you who grew up without a father, and you had friends that had loving fathers, how that made y'all feel. How did that make y'all feel when y'all went home at night to lay down on your pillows as little girls and as children? How many of y'all have had father daughter dances at your school and you couldn't go? Or you went with your uncle or your brother because your father wasn't present? So that's why I said this is something that is painful. Little girls, children, period, need their fathers, whether it's boys or girls. But little girls really need their fathers, because it's the father that shows the little girl as she grows up how a man is supposed to treat you. That's why we got all these girls on Instagram. That's why we got all these girls that are stripping. That's why we got all these girls in porn. That's why we got all these girls getting flued out to guys they don't even know. They're looking for love and validation in men because their fathers weren't there. And these are the same women that's going to get on that girl's TikTok and tell her where she's wrong at. That she's not wrong. She's not wrong. And I think also the smart thing for that young lady to do is to go to therapy. She needs to go to therapy so she can deal with her feelings with this, so she doesn't look for she had a stepfather. She said she has a stepfather that raised her. Let's just hope this man was an excellent stepfather to her, and helped her grow into a level-headed young lady that'll make good decisions. So let's just say that. But I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, because I be done sat here and just acted like a fool. And the reason why I say that is because I do daily assessments, and I did it with adolescents for years and children for years. And the girls who don't have fathers, 90% of them were assaulted, were SA'd. And why? Because the men weren't around, or they wind up being trafficked, or they wind up stripping. Because the men they don't know what love is from a man. They don't know what love is supposed to feel like from a man. They don't know how they're supposed to be treated by a man. So when any man comes around and gives them any kind of attention, they gravitate right to it and think it's love, even when they're being groomed. So that's why I said, let me get off of here, because I'm about to get mad, because this is a very touchy subject for me. It's very touchy. I grew up without a father. Even though I had a stepfather, I had uncles, I had other male figures in my life that protected me. No one takes the place of your bio father. You're always going to have in the back of your mind, why did I wish my dad would have done this? I wish I could have done this with my dad. I wish my dad could have walked me down the aisle. I wish I could call on my dad when this boy is yelling at me. These are all the things that run through a girl's mind at some point in their lives. And for these women to get on here and mess with that young girl like that with them stupid ass comments, it's all y'all. It's just insane to me. And I bet you those women that left negative comments, their lives is hell. Their lives is hell. Because if you can't see the damage that an absentee father does to a young girl, then I don't know what else to tell y'all. I really don't. I really don't. It's nothing else I can say. I don't care who likes this video. I don't care who says what. It is the truth. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. I had to stop working with children. That was one of the reasons I'm tired of hearing about no father, no father, no father. And then these girls are being assaulted, groomed. It's insane, abused, all because they want attention from a man because they don't have a father. So that's why I said I'm going to get off of here because this subject really grinds my gears, and I'm gonna start cursing in a minute. So then I'm gonna wind up having a headache. So I'm just going to go ahead and end this one, and I'll come back with another video that's not so emotionally charged for me. So I'll be back, and you guys take care.